knowledge is really, really bad. Knowledge is bad until you put it on a paper. There are so many small things which an expert knows within the sleeping. A person which has never been on this machine, they cannot know. You are the expert when you get everybody able to do whatever you are doing right now. We don't need no-brainer processes because we have very intelligent people. It's all about training. We don't show them what to do, we only show them where they can find the solution. Trust your people, train your people, and then you will explode.
Today we're going to talk to Stephan Hilmer of Tridelta Meidensha in Germany, and we're going to understand how standard processes can take even German efficiency to a whole new level. Let's see how he did it. Stephan, over to you. Tell us about yourself.
Hey Tom, hey GembaDocs community. My name is Stephan. I'm living in a small town in Germany, directly in the center of Germany. And I'm working since now 14 years for a company which is called Tridelta Meidensha. And we are producing surge arresters. Surge arresters are protective devices for the energy supply. And yeah, we started Lean about 2020, directly when Corona hits us all. And yeah, at this time, we think we have something to change because our order intake dropped down and everything goes in the wrong direction. And yeah, this was the time when we think something have to change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so a surge arrestor is that thing, for the people that are watching this on video, that's that thing over your shoulder there. That's what a surge arrestor looks like for our electricity supply system. So yeah, how did you come across Lean, and what triggered you to take action?
Yeah, so at this time, I think the world has changed, and there was a little risk for our company because all the construction work stops. So all the projects we hit in the line, they were postponed, and we don't know really what to do. Nobody knows at this time when we will come back to normal, when everything will be better. And so I had a lot of time, and I go through YouTube and watched a lot of videos because I have, in this time I was responsible for production, and I see that we have something to do. We had a lot of time, and nothing was changed at this period of time for our production areas. So I came across Paul Akers at YouTube. I watched the videos. I downloaded the book. I heard it 2 or 3 times in a row. Then I put down my phone, sent a WhatsApp to Paul, and I don't know, 2 hours later I got response, and this was the starting point for me. And then we started doing 2-second lean within our company, mostly at the production. And I had the opportunity to fly around the world doing COVID, visit these amazing companies like FastCap, like In the Ditch, like Seating Matters. And I traveled all around the world doing COVID and bring the spirit to my company. And now 4 years later, we are on a very good way, I believe, to be one of these 2-second lean companies.
Wow. So just a little bit for anybody who's listening that isn't aware of 2-second lean. We cover this in other episodes, but so it's a very simplistic approach and an approach with lean that brings it within the realms of smaller companies as well. And it basically boils things down to focusing on growing and developing your people. We have a morning meeting every day. We give our people time to improve every day with improvement time. We do a process called 3S, of sort, sweep, and standardize every day. And I've practiced it. I've written my books. If you look over the shoulder, Stephan even put a version of improvement starts with I in German for Besserung beginnt mit mich, mit mir. Pardon, verzeihen Sie mir. But yeah, it's an amazing approach. And so Stephan, from there, I've actually visited Stephan's factory. We made a video. I'll put a link to the video in the show notes. It's absolutely stellar. And I must say, Stephan, from everyone that I know in the lean world, for your commitment to go and visit all these different places and learn and take back these best practices into your organization is like no one else I know. So you are operating at a super, super high level. And so, yeah, with regards to the focus of this podcast, we're looking at around standard processes. And you're a GembaDocs customer. You've got a few hundred standard operating procedures now. How did you get started with that? What was the process? How did you come across GembaDocs for a start? And what triggered you into action? And with a particular reference of how did you get your team engaged in this process of standard processes? That's a big question.
Yeah, so one of the focuses of 2-second Lean is keeping everything simple. So it's really important that everybody is involved and everybody is able to do what they like to do. And we struggled with that at the beginning. So we learned in the 2-second Lean community that knowledge is a bad thing. So it sounds a little bit weird, but knowledge is really, really bad. Knowledge is bad until you put it on a paper. So think about you having an expert which is operating a machine on a perfect way. What happens if this expert is ill tomorrow, has an accident or whatever? He left the company or something like this. And doing this approach, we learned, we trained this to our people. And we tell them, okay, your knowledge is good for you, but it's not good for the company. It's good for the company when you bring it down to the paper. And you are the expert when you get everybody able to do whatever you are doing right now. And then we started to making our own SOPs using Word, Excel, or something like this. We also started to making small videos, but there was no standard. We are 120 people in our company and everybody tried to make it in this way or whatever. And due to the lean community, Tom is also one big part in that. I came across GembaDocs. I downloaded the free version. We tried within 5 people in the company. And then step by step, we bring it to everybody in the company. And at the beginning, there was one person which was mainly, let's say, responsible to do the SOPs and GembaDocs. And this person was trained to train the other people. So we trained a trainer in that case. And it takes a long time, let's say, to get everybody involved, not because of GembaDocs, because of the thinking of the people. So we are training them to do it in their daily 3S time. So we call it Kaizen time. There's 30 minutes every day. Everybody don't have to work on the product. They have to work on the process. And in this time, we train them, and now they're using this time to making new SOPs or update the SOPs every single day. So, and the operator is doing it right now. They are doing it together with their team leads, because it's very important that you don't change the process every single day only because you have a small idea. From my point of view, you have to have let's say, a sparring partner every day to have at least 4 eyes looking on it. But once we set up this approach using the easy way of GembaDocs, it was a running thing. And it's now a daily job for everybody to doing this GembaDocs.
There's so much gold in what you've just said in these past few minutes, because I love this. I've interviewed so many people, and literally, I would say now hundreds of people who have gone through this similar process. And this is the first time I've heard this expression of knowledge is a bad thing. I've never heard that before. And I totally get it. It's when it's only in one person's head, knowledge is actually dangerous. It's how I would put it.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous for the organization when that knowledge is only in one person's brain. But when we take that knowledge and document it and make it and bring other people up to our level, then that benefits the organization. And when we benefit the organization, we also benefit all the individuals collectively, and we also benefit the customer. So a key that I'm trying to unearth when we're having this podcast is to find things like that are going to help someone else in your position. How do I get my people on board with this? So that I just want to emphasize it. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And another one that I want to emphasize for the audience is this: you took an approach of you had one person who was like the expert, and we've seen variations of that during the other podcasts where some people have a few people who are the Gemba doctors and they help everyone else document their processes. Other people just go straight on and they have like 30 or 40 people documenting everything. And I think that it really depends on your organization, what you make, your attitude to your people, even the level of your people when you start the process. All of that matters.
Yeah, so there's also one thing more. So if you choose the expert to doing a GembaDoc, so there are different GembaDocs in any organization. Um, I don't like to make it less important, but cleaning something is maybe an easy GembaDoc. But we are
Mm-hmm.
using GembaDocs also for our machines, which are operative actions which you have to train for 4 weeks or something, and then we put it in a GembaDocs. So, and these are very, very, let's say, high knowledge GembaDocs we are
Mm-hmm.
using internally. And if you are an expert of this machine and you're working for 5, 6, 7, 10 years on this machine, you will lose your focus. You will stay very, very looking in one direction. Your eyes are not open left and right to make something completely different. And what we are doing is we have a step-by-step position. We are using so-called Kaizen managers. The Kaizen managers in our organization are the CEOs of the departments. So they are responsible for the full department in anything, material sourcing, shipment, everything. So they are responsible for everything in this department, also for the improvements. Further to that, the second step is our flow managers. These flow managers, they are the leaders of the shifts, let's say, and they have to take care that everything stays in flow. And how we are approve these very important GembaDocs is the operators doing the GembaDocs together with the flow managers, because they are the person in charge. And then before we publish the GembaDocs, at least the Kaizen managers will further check this GembaDoc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because maybe there's something from the past they don't know right now, or something which is really important was missing. And in this really important GembaDocs, there's at least a 6 eyes
Mm-hmm.
check. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing this for all GembaDocs, but for the very important GembaDocs, this is our way to do it. And I really like to say there is no 100% way. There, different companies can do it in different ways, but this is the way how we do it.
Yeah,
And
I love that because, well, really, it goes back to basic quality system approaches. Like in your basic old, very beginning ISO 9000 series quality standards, you couldn't issue a quality critical document without it being approved by a second party. So
yeah,
it's actually very basic in that sense. And I think I love the way that you categorize for example, we don't maybe need 6 eyes to do the cleaning the bathroom
yeah,
standard operating procedure. But for how do we do some critical maintenance on a multi-million euro machine? Well, that's taken years for someone to know. Well, yeah, we don't want just to have casually approach that without the appropriate eyes approving it. So it takes me into another question, actually. So in terms of how you use GembaDocs, so I think most of the audience can get, like, for the bathroom, we put it on the wall and people follow it. But for that kind of super technical uh, SOP, what's your approach to distribute the knowledge? How do you do that?
so once this critical GembaDocs is set up, we are doing something very strange. So maybe somebody would say, um, it took us sometimes many weeks to set up a GembaDocs like this. And the way behind is that it's not about the GembaDocs themselves to make this. It's not about making a GembaDoc. It's about critical thinking about the way you do the process. It's critical thinking about, did you document the process well? So it's really about focusing on the process and make it into a standard operation. So once we're doing this the first time, so many people say, okay, and what about this? What about that? Until we managed to have a full operating SOP, it was crazy at the beginning because, okay, where do you put on the machine? Where do you make the pressure air on or whatever? There are so many small things which an expert knows within the sleeping. He goes, bah, 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 bah. But a person which has never been on this machine, they cannot know it. And we are following up to make everything into this SOP. And once we think that this SOP is 100%, there's no 100%, but once we are getting to 100%, we put a person in charge who had never ever seen this machine before or never ever worked on it. So this helps us also internally that we bring the company more closer together. We have different departments, sales team, purchasing team, engineering team, development team, or whatever. And we have one very, very sensitive machine at the company, which are doing helium leakage testing. So normally I was not able to operate this machine. But due to critical thinking about the process and documenting everything in GembaDocs, we have a GembaDocs which is like this. Every single step was documented, every single step. And it was very easy at the end for me to operate this machine. And once we said, okay, I am able to operate this machine, we go into our sales department, put on a nice lady and say, okay, are you willing to help us? And she said, yes, sure. And we put her on this machine. We say, okay, this is our helium leakage testing machine. This is the GembaDocs. Please try to make it without any help. This is not the way we normally do it. If new people come inside, we train them for a while, helping for the GembaDocs. But in this case, we say, okay, here is the SOP. Try to make a measurement. And she succeed. So, and that's we see that the GembaDocs was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Once a new operator, which has to work on this machine, comes to our company, we're starting with a training. There's a trainer which shows everything inside, and then on the second stage, the guy is operating by himself. The trainer is behind, helping if any needs, but it was really, really helpful once we set up the process in a very big, detailed way. And so now this is very fun. And this is the way we are doing this for these critical processes at every time. We are testing it, saying nothing, using a person which has never worked on this machine, trying to make it. And once this person is able to do the operation, then we think we are on a very, very good way to have a safe GembaDoc.
This is great. Like, so that approach of using somebody that's completely not familiar with the process to test, to validate the SOP, that it's fully complete, comprehensive, easy to understand and follow. Like, it's for those critical processes. I really love it. You touched a little bit, leads me to another question. When you're training someone on a super technical process like that, how do you use the SOP? Is when you're showing them, I imagine when you show them the process, you use the SOP as a basis. But as the training tapers off and the trainer moves away, do you use the SOP for reference, or how do you use it? I'm just curious.
Our thinking is that every single step in the operation should be documented. And we start training new people, showing what to do. And then step by step, we're giving over to the person doing this operation by themselves. And once they come into a point where they don't know what's next or something like this, or what is the next step, then we are open our GembaDocs. And then we say, okay, you don't know what's the next step? If I'm not here, just use this SOP, take a look inside, and then you know exactly what's the next step. And we don't show them what to do. We only show them where they can find the
Right.
solution.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because and the next time they stop at a different point because they don't know it yet. It was a weekend behind or something like this. And so we show them where to look for the answer. That's very easy.
Love it. Love it. So really it's there for support. During that process, that you're still training the person to internalize that knowledge, but the SOP is there for support. And
Yes.
as well, especially if the person's not around to be, to support the person, you use the SOP for that. No,
Yeah, you
that's
know that
helpful.
our persons are always around, but nevertheless, it's the way. So
Yeah.
if nobody's around, just put on the undone light, and in 2 minutes somebody will be there.
Absolutely. Just again for listeners, in Ryan Tierney of the Lean Made Simple podcast, I was actually with him when he made the video at Stephan's place, and they have an amazing and-on call system that if anyone has a problem, that it calls for help and gets it rapidly to support the production people. It's a really cool system. Check out the video. We'll put it in the show notes as well. So no, Stephan, absolutely brilliant. And so I can see now how you had a great process to get your people on board. It's clear how you're documenting your process. It's also now clear how you're training and implementing the processes to make them real and make them seriously useful. Have you any process to make sure that everything's tight and current and that the SOPs are still being used properly, they're still up to date? Or have you anything that specifically for that, or you just rely on your overall system?
So honestly spoken, when I was with Paul in November in Japan, since that time I changed a little bit what we're doing in our company. So maybe many people doing the same. So if there was a tool which was not right in place, we are marking the tool and marking the place and so on. And we try to make everything like a no-brainer. But the last time I've been in Japan, I learned that we should not believe on no-brainers. It's not a bad way, but a no-brainer, so maybe somebody could think, okay, you can use everybody to doing everything. So, and I learned in Japan just doing something differently. If a problem happens, just really focusing on the people,
Mm-hmm.
train the people, ask why didn't you put the tool back. So, and you will learn way more if you ask and ask, okay, what happens? And sometimes they are in rush. Okay, there's no big thinking behind not doing it right. But once you're getting in touch with the people, talk to the people so frequently and get them understand that having the process very tight and clean and everything should be managed. This is the way we do it. And we changed this in December. And again, our organization changed because we keep everybody involved and we keep everybody say, okay, if the process which is documented is not 100% right, you are the person in charge. You see the failure, just making the document right. Think about what to do. Training, training, training. So I announced at the first day of 2025 in our morning meeting that the year 2025 is all about training, 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 training how to clean the toilet, training how to clean the kitchen of everything. It's all about training. We would like to have people which are brainers and no-brainer processes. We don't need no-brainer processes because we have very intelligent people,
Mm-hmm.
and keeping them involved, keeping them trained every single day. And this really changed also the smile on the face because they see that we trust in them. And so this is what I keep out to everybody is trust your people, train your people, and then you will explode.
Yeah, the sky is the limit. This is just incredible. Like listening to that and trying to, let's say, just give a different perspective on what you're saying. It's like you're really keeping the autonomy and the responsibility with the individual creating the value at the front line. So it's your process. it's your responsibility, and we support you with great training to keep that process tight and keep it at a world-class level. And you're from me, you're motivating your people to constantly get better. And when you're doing that with world-class people, you only can have world-class processes. That's what happens. If you've got, I'm going to speak very plainly for the audience and not in a politically correct way, but if you treat your people
Like
badly,
shit.
maybe that's the word I was trying to avoid, but yes, that's the word I was looking for. If you treat your people like that, that's what you're going to get. And that's what you're
Yeah.
going to get, processes that are shit as well. And you're probably going to get crappy results for your customer. So really, when we're looking at this holistically, it's not about GembaDocs. GembaDocs is only a tool to help you build your culture and get your processes to that level. Like, I think I'm going to repeat here. People often use the term attack the process, not the person. But if you don't have a documented process, there's nothing left to attack except the person. So having the process as tight and clear like that gives everybody an opportunity to grow. So, no, Stephan, this has been one of my best podcasts that I've recorded during this series. It's really been so much fun. And we've learned so much. I think the audience is going to get a lot from this. So is there anything that you do differently now that you've been through a process and you've got to where you are? Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience that you thought, well, that was a big mistake. I wouldn't do it that way again. Anything you'd like to share that way?
There is no mistake which don't train you further. So it's important to make failures. It's important to make failures because you learn about that. The reason why I started traveling around the world at the beginning was I would like to learn so much as possible to don't make so much failures. And this was, from my point of view, also the right way, because when you go into an organization which is doing lean since 10 years, you will learn, if you're open eye person, you will learn many, many things. And you will need 1-2 years to implement this into your organization. But you also have to do your own failures. You have to talk to your people very, very frequently. So maybe one failure I did at the beginning is that I was not able to talk to everybody on every single day. So right now, I spend at least 2 hours a day only walking around the company. So I have a lot of things to do on my table, answering customers, making all the CEO stuff. But I reserved at least 2 hours a day to going to the Gemba and talking to people, talking to my Kaizen managers, talking to my flow managers. And I'm doing this also when I'm traveling. I'm traveling a lot, but I have we're using WhatsApp, and they send me text message every single day. Every single day at 1 p.m., my team is sending me a short notice. Okay, this was my day. So we call it feedback talk. So I got the message every single day, no matter if I'm traveling in China, traveling in the US or whatever. So I would like to talk to my people every single day. It's not very easy sometimes because it's a lot of work if you're putting on the phone, and it took me about 1 hour a day to listen to all these messages, but it's really, really helpful for me to stay involved in a daily business. It's not about taking a look from above, but it's also to have a daily talk. That people have to know that I'm there, and if they have a problem, I'm always on their side to solve it together with them. So so my advice is maybe using your time right. It's it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's not
And
so
you,
easy,
mm-hmm. And
but
you've
it's very
really,
important.
listening to you there, it's like spending more and more time at the Gemba where the value is added, and it's really it can only be time well spent. One of my favorite lean learnings over the last few years can be summed up in this expression, and I heard it from In the Ditch, Chuck Ceccarelli, that you mentioned earlier, and the expression is: the further away from the Gemba the decision is made, the worse the
Yeah.
decision will be. And so if you're not as a leader at the Gemba and you're not fully aligned with what's going on day to day in your operation and you're making decisions based on spreadsheets and reports, it's probably not going to work out too well for you. so
Yeah.
like no, it's a great learning. And another one, like just to help shed light on what you were saying there. I do believe in life that without challenges there aren't any growth. So if you don't push yourself, and you're going to make some mistakes if you do that, if you do new things, not everything's going to be perfect, and but you will learn. And the old boxing expression, if you're not winning, you're learning. so
Yeah.
so Stephan, look, it's been a fantastic experience having this conversation with you today. I'm super grateful that you took the time to share your knowledge. Now that it's not dangerous, it's out in the world. Your knowledge is not just in your head. It's been full of nuggets. So grateful for your time today. Thank you so much. And yeah, see you soon. Must come over to Germany in the near future. Take care, my friend.
Thank you so much, Tom.